Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of Connect. So, I had put up a poll on my Instagram and Facebook asking what the topic of this episode should be, and most of you responded that it should be something personal about how I overcame exam fear and dealt with my current and previous board exams. So, there's a lot of stress and tension associated with board exams in general, especially among the students, their parents, the teachers, everybody. So, right from when I was in probably third or fifth grade, I've been hearing about board exams and how scary they are and how all senior students have to go through this. And I was really scared. I don't know, okay, I even when I was in my 10th and even right in the days leading up to my board exams, I was really scared. I didn't know, how it's gonna be, how's the paper gonna be, how are the people going to respond, because there's this whole thing that people told me about, there's gonna be too much checking, they're gonna check your shoes, they're gonna check your socks, they're gonna see if you have chits, and if you are found indulging in any malpractices, you'll be debarred. So there was so much going on about the board exam, about how hard it is and about what happens if you don't clear it properly. So I was actually speaking, in the beginning days, I was a little scared about how I'm gonna go through this, because people told me it was like this stepping stone in your life. It's like a rite of passage. So you gotta get through this. All of them do it. But my parents were unusually, very positive and very supportive about it. They were like, no, it's okay, it's easy. We've all gone through this. We've all seen this. It's not as hard as they say it is. But I found it hard to believe because everyone else around me was also scared witless. And then on the day before the board exam, my first board exam in 10th was math. And math at that time was my favorite subject, still is. It was my favorite subject. So I could say I was a little occasionally proficient in maths, all thanks to my teacher. And so there was this 1 or 2 weeks of break before my math exam. So there was this study holiday. And all those 14, 15, 17 some days, all those days I only did math, and my modus operandi for my math exam is not something I would advise, but this is what I did. So I had my RD Sharma in front of me. That was all I did for the board exam, because I had already covered NCRT a couple of times during the exams before that. So my RD Sharma was what I used for math. So I used to sit in front of the TV, which was playing music, on the sofa with my RDS, one notebook, one pen. When there's a nice fun song, I used to get up, start singing and dancing along. When that song's over, I come do 2-3 sums. Again, when another fun song comes up which I want to dance to, I go sing, dance. Then I come back, I solve. That was literally my whole process. And then snacks and food just kept appearing. So I used to eat, drink and then study. So that was how I actually prepared for my math exam. And I finished like the day before the exam date. So by around, I think 7 or 6 p.m. I was done studying. I was sure that I've covered all topics. I know all kinds of problems that are possibly coming in this paper, so I'm sure. And then I stopped studying. Right then, before that I thought, I'll study until 12 a.m. that night, or at least until 10 a.m. because I'll have to get up early the next day to go to the exam. So it's like at least until 10 a.m. I'll be fully studying, or the next day morning I'll revise. Stuff like that. But I actually didn't do any of that. Like at 6 p.m. or something, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Fine. I'm going to chill. And I enjoyed the rest of the day. The next day, during the board exam, when we went in the bus, okay, there was this, everybody's there and everybody's revising. Everybody's asking you last minute formulae. They're like, do you know this? Do you know that? There's this sample paper I came across. There's this question. Do you know how to solve it? And at that time, the fear actually a little bit set in. Until then, I was like, yeah, it's chill. I'll do it. It's okay. And that was my attitude. In there, I was like, okay, I don't know this question, but I'll figure it out. And then I started solving that, and I figured it out. So I was like, okay, there's a question I didn't know. I figured it out. I'll be able to figure out the paper. And that's how I did. And in the exam hall, because my math exam is the only paper I remember, guys. That's why I can talk to you about it endlessly, because that's the only paper I remember properly writing. So till the last minute, I checked the paper, because I was like, these are the only 3 hours you're going to get with that math paper. If you do not check now, if you act complacent, you check it once and you miss a mistake and you lose marks for that, you will never be able to forgive yourself. I'm a very competitive person and I can't deal with it if I make silly mistakes. So till the last minute, I was checking and rechecking my paper. And there was this one question where there was it was a two-part, there's an or question to it. I tried the or question and I was a little confused whether this answer is correct or not, because there was something about surface area of something, so I want to know whether you include the area of the base or you just use the curved surface area and solve it. That was my entire doubt. So I was like, no, let's not risk it. I strike the whole question down, even though I've been warned a million times by my teacher, don't do all the striking and other stuff like that, just write it neatly, legibly. I struck that whole question down, and then I wrote its or. I solved that. That was easy. I actually thought this one was easier in terms of there was this whole 22 by 7 and some radius was 7. So I was like, it'll get cancelled. I don't need to do decimal. So that's why I picked that one. But then I did the previous one. I solved it and I was like, yeah, okay, this answer is also correct. Fine. That was how the paper was finished. After the paper, obviously there's this discussion that people do. As much as people tell me they don't want to discuss, deep down everybody wants to discuss the paper, alright? So we discussed the paper. Half of the time, all my questions, nobody came up to me abruptly and told me my answers were wrong when I told them. So I was a little confident, yeah, okay, I've done this paper well. I didn't hope for a centum, but I got it. That's God's grace and my teacher's blessings, so that's happy. The next exam was science. And the weirdest thing is, because I spent the 2 weeks prior to the science exam studying math, because the math exam was before that, I completely forgot everything. Like the moment I opened my science textbook, I was like, did I study all of this? Like everything looked new. So the day before my science exam, I was like panicking. I was doing all kinds of sample papers and stuff, and I was literally panicking because I forgot almost everything. And it is so weird because I used to crib a lot about there's so many exams. Almost every month we used to write one test, so that the portions that covered in that month we get a revision right at the end, so you're thorough with everything. So I used to crib so much. My class teacher also knows about this. I used to crib so much. There's so many exams, I can't do anything. At that time, there's another aspect attached to this. So at that time, I was not very creatively inclined, as in I didn't put myself too much into creativity. I used to do it sometimes. If somebody tells me, there's this article in the magazine you're supposed to write, go write. I used to write. But otherwise, like this writing a full book and stuff, I only started in the lockdown. But I realized that even at that time, I had that creative instinct in me, which was like, do something creatively, that's when you'll be satisfied. And so, because there were so many exams and I didn't have so much time, I used to crib so much that why are there so many exams? Just give me the board exam paper already. I'll solve that and get it done with. I cannot write any more exams. To crib so much, and even my mom was like, it's okay, you'll get through it, it's okay, just 2 more months, just 1 more month, stuff like that. So I used to feel really, really irritated. But when it came to the final board exams, none of these exams helped. I forgot absolutely everything, and that's why science was the subject I performed the worst. I got the least marks in science. So that was my experience with my 10th boards. But math was really fulfilling, and that's how I was really happy about the whole experience. It is not as hard as you think. And there is not too much of checking. People don't stress you out in the beginning, okay? It's just whatever the teachers in your school or your parents tell you that stresses you out. The other teachers in the other school are very chill, or it's probably the only school I went to. Only that school which I went to which was chill. But I had a good experience and it was very comfortable. I was able to carry water bottle and I was able to drink water, stay hydrated, write calmly, smoothly. I was able to finish all the papers well before time, at least half an hour before the 3-hour time that is there. I was able to check the paper. So it was a very, very comfortable experience. And if you're thorough with the portions, if you know all the concepts well, you can ace your boards. So you don't need to worry about that. About my 12th boards, which are currently hanging in the balance, I realized that, so even though I used to crib so much about having exams, when there are no exams and exams where you have to study everything and there's no idea of copying, it's not online exams where you can do whatever you want. So when there are no exams, it kind of kills the motivation to study. So for a lot of the part of this year, when there was a chapter being taught, I would probably get back to it and get thorough with it a period of 4 months after it was taught. When there's a huge summative or quarterly exam coming on, that's when I, shuffle through and I'm like, okay, this is the lesson. These are all the concepts. I would have a little idea, but a crystal clear idea of that was not possible during this lockdown. So that is something I regret. And another thing is, unless there is a group of people studying with you and because I am a very competitive person, unless I see someone else doing very better than me, it doesn't motivate me much to work myself harder when it's just me and my house and I don't know what other people are doing. I just assume, yeah, okay, everybody's like me, and I go on in my own path. But when I see that no, I'm not getting as much marks as the other people, the competitive person in me starts telling, no, you have to work hard. So that was one thing I missed during the lockdown. But another thing is, I got a lot of time for self study. So I was able to revise exactly those concepts which I was not thorough with. I was able to go through a huge number of guides. I was able to make a lot of notes and stuff like that. I was that much time was afforded to me. That's another thing that was a bonus. But I still think that if there was school all this time, I would be much more confident about my exams than I am now. But I would crib a lot about there's so many exams. So that is one thing. So I was not cribbing this whole year, and that's why I'm happy. So yeah, you need school, guys. Online classes work out only if you can motivate yourself. And I didn't do that much, so that's why online classes proved to be a little bit of a hurdle for me while going towards the board exams. So yeah, so that was the whole experience of mine. I'll tell you what happened after I finish my boards this year. Hopefully I have good things to say. Thank you, guys. Bye.